started, I just wanted to make sure you guys are all aware of the reloadersnetwork.com, and you guys should sign up. If you're on YouTube and you want to be able to have a better connection with all the different reloaders and YouTube content creators for gun reloading and ammo, this is definitely the place for you. Great information, great resources, and really good connectivity with all the great content creators out there. You can also see that I accidentally spilled some lead. I use concrete backer board as a surface for my lead pouring. One is it's easy to scrape and keep clean, and two, when this lead pours out, I can simply take this lead and I can simply throw it back in the pot, and there's nothing wasted. I'm sure you don't get any splashback. Showing you an example of me being too impatient with letting the lead cool. And you can see while the outside is nice and hard and the top is nice and hard, when I did eject it from the mold, I didn't wait long enough, and actually some lead leaked out the side of the ingot. So I'm going to go ahead and reprocess that ingot now, throw it back in the melter, and I'll make that. See where it leaked out, you can see that there's a hole in the side of that ingot and in that ingot, and that's where the lead spilled out, right in this area here. Okay, right there's a hole. My being impatient, it happened. Back in there, you can see the lead ingot I just popped back in there. And I have to be patient again because, as you can see in my thermometer, putting that lead ingot that had air cooled a little bit has dropped my temperature down. So now that I've thrown that big ingot back in there, I'm going to have to have the temperature come back up and make sure that the lead is the proper temperature before I start pouring ingots again. While I'm waiting for that lead to heat back up again, I have a laser thermometer here. And I'm going to test the temperature of the first lead ingot. It's currently at 130 degrees. I'll check a couple spots here. Some spots are hotter than others. Okay, this spot is like, okay, it's cooling down. So here's the second one. And you can see that it's a little bit hotter. It is cooling down. I do have a fan blowing on it. And here's the one that just came out. It's a little bit 190 degrees or so, hotter in some spots than others. So we know none of these would be comfortable for us to hold. If we had gloves, we could probably pick them up. But again, just in case they're a little soft, I'm going to let them cool down. And, you know, there's crystals in lead. Lead essentially, and many metals are crystals. And, you know, you want to melt them and have the crystals be as small as possible. You don't want it to cool very, very, slowly. You don't want to cool very, very quickly. If you cool it quickly, like water quench it, it's going to go ahead and make it really hard. Now, why don't I want hard ingots? Well, I want to know what the air-cooled value of this lead is, what the BHN is, so that I can use it as a stable alloy at a specific BHN, know what that BHN is during air-cooled, and then I can add other elements to raw lead, mix this with raw lead, throw in some hardening agent from Super Hard, from Roto Metals, and I can go ahead and get the level of hardness that I want. These, when they're cooled, air-cooled, they're entirely too hard to make bullets, and when they're water-cooled, they'd be even more so. Again, the whole point of this is I'm making ingots so that I can make bullets. When I do cast the bullets, those are going to be water-cooled, and they will tell me what the final BHN would be. I created 5 ingots from that one bar, and obviously they're 6 pounds each, so you're looking at about 30 pounds of lead here, is what I was able to cast from it. So it's a little heavier than I thought. It's a really good cast. If you look at it, you can see that the bars on the ingot, the right side of each bar is nice and smooth and really, you know, nicely done. And as we get closer to it, you can see there's little lines in the lead itself. And that's because I started pouring here and I filled this up, and the lead started to spill over. And when it spills over, it's pouring in layers as it spills over. It's not spilling over. It's not spilling lead and cooling like it did in this one or this one, but it started spilling over slowly, and that's where you get the layers. It's not a really big deal. The ingot is very solid, but again, I'm not making bullets at this point. I'm casting ingots for this lead, and it's going to be donor lead to make my other lead hard. I also wanted to take a moment to show you some pure lead, and you can clearly see the color of pure lead. This is obviously very tarnished, but you can see it's pure lead. The ingot to the right of it, they're side by side, that's some lead that I added some tin to. So when I have this lead here, this lead is pure lead. It's at about a BHN level of 4 to 5 as pure lead. And I added some tin to the mixture on this one just so that it would flow a little bit better. And it flowed really, really well. And it also changes the color a little bit. That lead is going to allow it to flow in the ingots. So when I mix this together with the harder lead, I want to be able to get the BHN up to around 18, which is where I cast most of my bullets. And there again, that's air cooled. When I water cool it, it's going to get up to around 24 to 28, which would be very, very hard for my purposes. Again, I'm going to powder coat these as well. So at the end step, at the end of everything else, we'll be in good shape. I also have these really cool lead bars that I found. I get them on Craigslist. I talk to friends that are plumbers, and they use plumber's lead and lead for the telecommunication industry to melt, I guess, to harden pipes or conduit and solder stuff. So I got these solder bars, and these are 60/40. I think that's 60% lead, tin and 40% lead. And I use these to make the lead nice and shiny and to flow properly. I just want to take a moment and show you those. Here's a finished look at the lead that I cast from a monotype lead bar from the printing industry used for printing presses. Essentially what they do is they pour hot lead. They had machines that used to type letters, and monotype is used for large letters because there's a lot of impact on them, and then typically linotype is used for making the smaller type, blocks of type. Some companies cast everything in monotype, some companies cast everything in linotype, and this is just so when they were making their little type galleys out of lead blocks, they could paste them on a wooden frame and then get an imprint for the first batch of type that they were putting on the page. And that's about all I know about the type portion of it, but again, I get these on Craigslist, and it's a good find. I sometimes get them at flea markets and other places, but then again, I'm not going to tell you all my secrets. I'm going to get into casting on bullets using the Lee molds. I have a Lee mold for 155 grain for a 30 caliber, and I have another Lee mold that will allow me to cast 224 bullets for 223 ammo, and that's also 55 grain with common that I use. And then I'll go into powder coating and gas checking and show you some of the finished product. I think one of the other things I want to talk about is using proper protection when you're handling lead. You don't want to be breathing this stuff in. You want to do it in a well-ventilated area. You can see my garage doors are open behind me. I also have a fan over here that I'm casting, and there's any fumes coming off, I'll turn that on to blow the fumes out. So important to use proper protection. These are some rubberized gloves I use for handling the lead. I actually clean these later on so there's not any rubber and lead residue left on the gloves. When I am casting, I'm going to go ahead and use these welding gloves to protect my hand not only from the lead, but protect them also from the heat. And I picked these up at Harbor Freight. I think they were about $8, so you get what you pay for, but these have done a really, really good job. All right, for now, I say goodbye. You'll be seeing more of me soon, and I'll be making more videos shortly. And when you get a chance, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so, and go ahead and check out the Reloaders Network. I'll put a link in the comments so you guys can go there.